What's up, everyone? Another episode of Ready, Ted, Go. It's a pop-up podcast. This is like not your normal time of the week for me to hop on, but I will tell you, I had to hop on because I just can't stand waiting on this weekend, championship weekend. I try to make this podcast as impartial as possible, but there's only two teams left in the SEC right now, and they're going to be vying for the national. I'm sorry, I hope later on we're vying for the national championship, but we're going to be vying for the SEC championship in just 2 short days and really a day and a half. So I figured let's have a pop-up podcast and let's just talk SEC football. And there's a guy that he's always in my room. This is my first year doing this podcast, always in there. And he was telling me earlier, he was like, I'm always commenting, but I'm always a little bit behind. There's like a lag. And I'm like, dude, we got to find out a night that gets you on here and hang out. He's also the guy that really good friends with this guy from high school. Took me to him and his parents are the reason why I am a Georgia fan. Took me to my first ever Georgia football game. And, you know, back then we used to walk around and, we would walk around the hedges and just do crazy, stupid stuff. We didn't really understand why we needed to watch the game. But little did we know, between the tailgating and the football throwing and some of the things that we remembered seeing and we didn't see, to what we got now are why, we're part of the red and black. We're part of Georgia. I'm going to be super partial tonight. I am a Georgia fan through and through tonight. This will not be your normal Ready to Go SEC podcast, but I'm going to bring Adam Fisher on to, let me see if I can do this right. What's up, Adam? How are you, man?
What's up, man?
Dude, excited to have you on, talk a little football tonight.
Yes, sir.
You're usually typing in the chat, and you were telling me earlier, you're like, it's always like 60 seconds behind, and so you're having to go back and like talk through what's going on and things of that nature. But I thought this would be really cool to hang out because it's hard to sit here and wait, man, on Saturday at 4. There's 2 teams left. They are the 2 teams that, in the beginning of the year, when I started this podcast, that I said would be in Mercedes-Benz, and here they are. And so it's going to be really cool talking about it. Fish comes to us from, Fish is what we called him in high school and still call him now. He put his screen name down there as Fish. I love that, man. But coming to us from Savannah, Georgia. I have moved into Florida enemy territory, obviously in the Tampa area. So Fish is still in the area in Georgia, but still heavily involved. His family is down there as well. He's doing many things superstitiously, like I am doing here in Florida, built around the games. So, but dude, let's hop right in. Like, tell me, so far from the beginning of the year to now, man, like how exciting is it to see Georgia back in the SEC championship?
Can't believe it. Like, I kind of hoped and figured, if I'm, don't mind saying that, I kind of figured, being a Georgia fan, being extra partial, like I knew deep down that we'd be here, but was hoping we didn't have to play Bama, but here we are.
Yeah. And you like, why? and you hope, because why? Because it's like, it's Nick Saban, man. And that's the craziest thing is, when I look back, and you'd probably agree with this, when I look back at national championship 2 years ago, when we beat Bama, finally got the curse off our back a little bit.
Over the hump.
There's I don't want to hop too far ahead, but there's another curse on our back right here. We haven't beat Bama in this building as far as the SEC championship is concerned. But when you look at the total package, you always continue to go to Nick Saban. And I talked about it at the beginning of the year. It's like, okay, here we are. A lot of this coaching staff is brand new. It's just Saban and a brand new coaching staff. And they're already talking about some of these coaches looking at other jobs, head coaching jobs. I think Tommy Rees was contacted by a couple of schools to take their coaching job, which is their offensive coordinator. So it's so hard to consistently keep a great staff together, which Kirby has done an amazing job at. But
I can't believe Human is still there.
Dude, tell me about it. Well, he always says that. He's like, I have the best coordinator job in America. So until I get the head coaching job that's right, and I'm definitely not going, I don't think if he's going anywhere for a coordinator position, he's going up.
He's definitely going to be a head coach somewhere. Hopefully not next year. But
obviously, Fran Brown. Fran Brown has exited, secondary coach, heading to Syracuse, and I like Fran, but that's a little bit less of a sting because you still got Muschamp back there, and obviously Kirby is a secondary guy. So it's crazy to know that you really had three guys in that
Dude.
secondary. So if we're
Yeah,
going to look,
Glenn Schumann, Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, all that defensive knowledge and experience.
yeah,
Man, it's no wonder our defense is awesome all the time.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree, man. But we still go back to Saban, man. Like
Yeah.
every time I look at it, I'm like, it's Saban, right? But like
Yeah.
this is the year where I kind of look and go, I'll be honest with you. This is the year I'm not looking at Saban. I don't know about you, but I'm like, look like Milroe, right? Milroe he's been the project, man. And we'll start right there. Like when I look at like keys to how these two teams got here, right? And the hurdles they had to overcome. So I look at Georgia and I look at injuries, right? But I look at Alabama and I go, okay, beginning of the year, we were talking about, is Milroe the guy? Is he going to be, you got Ty Simpson, you got the other guy from Notre Dame. Is he going to be there? And we had the loss to Texas in Tuscaloosa, which has not been done in forever. Is a non-conference team coming in, which they'll be in the conference next year, but a non-conference team coming in, beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then they go to USF and they don't play Milroe, and they almost lose. I mean, they're right down the road from me, and they about got beat. I was tuned into the game. But you look at how both of these teams got here, and now we sit here in this game and we go, Saban doesn't really worries me as much as what Milroe brings to the table. So what are your thoughts on that as far as what Milroe brings to the table and how injuries have been the thing that's gotten Georgia over the hump? It could have not gotten Georgia to where we're at now.
I think Bama is a rain delay away from being a two-loss team because I think that rain delay saved them.
Yeah,
when they were playing USF or UC, USF.
I didn't think about that, man. I didn't think about that at all
because they were going nowhere. They couldn't do anything that whole game, and then the rain delay happened, and they come back, and USF was just flat. It was definitely not the same team that was, had been in there the first half.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I didn't think about that. And here's the thing, man. I'm all about. I mean, Saban. I don't say that Kirby got every single nuance of coaching from Saban. Yes, he was a protege, but I am telling you that
State's not a shabby place to start now.
The
guy he was working for there, probably taught him a thing or two also.
I agree. It's more of the continuance of what he's done is the total package. But I will tell you that the thing that Saban used to be talked about is how he can just adjust his adjustments. And you give Saban another opportunity to adjust. You gave him a rain delay. And he's like, and if you look back, that's pretty, I don't want to say it like this, but ballsy from his part to be like, I'm sitting this guy because yes, he's an incredible athlete. He's got a lot of arm talent, but right now I need him to understand the quarterback position is a leadership position.
Oh, I guarantee you during that rain delay that they were not relaxed, just sitting there chilling in the locker room. I bet you USF was because they were winning, And then I guarantee you they were getting their butt chewed the whole time. So when they came out, there was definitely a fire lit under them.
I totally agree, man. And I don't know so much if it was, and I don't have really a demeanor of this coaching staff from Alabama because you don't know them that well. You got Kevin Steele, who's an old head on defense. I think the defense has been great this year. But as you look at defensive rankings and standings and everything like that, Georgia is still exceeding them in a lot of areas in defense. But I do say that we said this at the beginning of the year. We said quarterback play, line play, and the defense were things that were going to make or break Alabama this year. And if the new coaches could gel together. It's hard to really look and see if they've gelled together because you don't really hear a lot about them. Saban is like Kirby. They really keep a close mouth on what's going on inside the fold. But I do think that Tommy Rees has done a lot of great things as far as adjusting to what Milroe can do and not do. But I also think that Kevin Steele has made some. I mean, dude, look at what he's done with it. I mean, you can look at him and Schumann in the same. I mean, but it's even more to say with him because he's new to that team. But they lost a lot of players to the draft as well, and they rebuilt and they got some great freshmen, just like Georgia has. They're cut the same way, man. That's why it's always when you look at it, you're like, man, it's got to be Alabama again, right? Why can't we get an Iowa, right? Like an Iowa.
I know, right? Like LSU last year. I was thankful to play LSU last year.
Right.
But then we got exposed in the second half. Our secondary was definitely the weak link in our chain last year. and we were lucky to get Ohio State. Frankly,
I
like
agree.
I was.
That
CJ
was the better
Stroud lit us
Ohio
up.
State team. That was the much better Ohio State team. CJ
Yeah,
Stroud is showing the CJ Stroud in the NFL now that he showed in that game. He's
offensive
a
rookie of the
phenomenal.
year,
Yeah, he's
easy.
a phenomenal weapon, man.
Yeah,
Really
he's
phenomenal.
great.
But you look at the growth of Alabama, but you also you scratch your head and you go, okay, and we're going to get into the playoff committee in a minute, and
Yeah,
we could sit on it all night. But there's some things that just frankly piss me off about some of the ideas around this stuff. But when you look at
Lord.
injuries, you tend to ask yourself, what could Georgia have really done this year? They only went 12-0, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They only went 12-0 with injuries at certain times to Brock Bowers, who could have easily been, a Heisman candidate if he doesn't get hurt. You look at Ladd McConkey, who has only played in probably 40% of the games this year. You look at injuries, Marius Mims on the line. You look at Tate Rutledge, who's hopefully going to be back for this game. You look at the shuffling of the line, the growth of the line. You look at the defensive line where Warren Brinson was just coming back healthy. He wasn't involved in that Tennessee game, by the way, that Georgia won on the road in Neyland and only allowed one touchdown. I'm going to say it like this to my Tennessee fans joining. You enjoyed the game for 11 seconds. And then after that, it was over, man. The only time you heard Rocky Top was when Dolly sang it after that.
That was their whole offense, was that one play. Boom. That's it.
That's it, man. So injuries. What if, man? Talk about what if. What if those don't happen?
All right. If no Ladd McConkey out, no Brock Bowers out, no Ra Thomas out, all our injuries last week were offensive starters. Ra, Ladd, Brock Bowers, and Tate all didn't play. And I know he won't admit it, but Kirby was definitely resting them, like giving them an off week because he thought we didn't need him against Tech. And we almost did. We tried to lose. We tried. But, there were freak things that happened in that game. That doesn't really reflect our season at all, I don't think. It was just, or who we are. I think it was just freak things like the ricochet off the foot. How often does that happen?
Well, dude, here's the thing. I mean, okay, we're going to go back there. Let's do it. It's a free night, right? This is a pop-up podcast. That guy's a freak, man.
Dude, next year, he's got to be in the Heisman talk next year. Dude, especially if Matt comes back, we might have two people in the Heisman conversation next year.
Right. And there's a lot. We could talk about so much.
I mean, he's throwing touchdowns. He's running. He's catching. I mean,
dude, he was our best halfback for like 2 games.
So we
catch that back shoulder, right? So he catches it, and Cedric Van Pran is running to celebrate. The touchdown has been said, yes, it's a touchdown, and they called him for an eligible receiver downfield. So that takes it back to 31-16. So then, if I'm Carson Beck, like, I'm pissed too, man. I'm trying to force it in there, man, to get Bell the touchdown. Throws it off a foot. We get an interception. They go the length of the field. The game ends 31-23. The game should have ended 38-16.
Easy.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
that's a totally different look. It's a totally different look.
Yeah. And Georgia Tech, let's just be honest. Buster Faulkner, I mean, he schemed that game up perfectly. But that guy's been sitting, him and Kevin Shearer, which used to be the outside linebacker coach for Georgia. Both of them guys have been sitting in meetings with our staff for years.
Oh, dude.
So
I know. Yeah, you know
it. So you knew it was going to be virtually impossible to just absolutely lock them down, because if you notice too, like, even commentators were like, this is going to be the Haynes King show. Buster Faulkner's like, no, it's not going to be the Haynes King show, because I know what to do. And he did. Like, he exposed the edge. And that was a weakness for us, because I will say this, if you look at the tape, Haynes King has gashed every single person on every option type run up the middle type stuff, and they flashed it for the touchdown. That was the bogus penalty call that got him in there, or maybe the interception call that got him in there.
Yeah.
But as you look at all that, right, the season can look totally different. But injuries, when you look at that, you even mentioned Ra. I didn't even think about that. He's been in and out.
Oh, and he was just getting hot too. Mississippi and the Tennessee game were his two best games of the season.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Now, I will tell you this. Speaking of injuries, and when you look at it, I would just love to see. Here's my thing. if Georgia hobbles into the SEC championship this weekend, maybe you get a Brock back. Here's what Kirby's saying, right? Kirby's saying that Ladd's working on a foot injury. This is totally different than Ladd's injury from the year, by the way. He's had tightness in his back, so colder weather and things of that nature. And when he tightens up, it gets bad. This is more of, I think, that he tweaked an ankle. So it's a little bit different injury. Then you got Brock, who, if I'm hearing it right, is a little bit sore still. Now, I will elaborate and say I do think he tweaked it again
at Tennessee.
In Tennessee. I don't think Kirby will admit that, but yes, he did. So
we saw it that he got up gingerly after that, and it was the same type of play on the sideline, getting drugged down from behind on the sideline. He's got that awkward motion, when he's getting tackled, which he does a lot, by the way, if you've noticed.
Yeah.
Like whenever he's going to the sideline, he tries to, I guess, position himself a certain way, and he must put a lot of torque on that ankle.
I agree. I totally agree. But if you look at them, these are all things, if I'm the committee, I'm going, you guys do realize that this Georgia team is 12-0, and if these players are missing on any other team, the team falls apart. Like if your number one tight end, your number one offensive lineman, your number one wide receiver, I would say Ladd's a number one wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
Number one wide receiver. You're one of your top two defensive linemen. There's a lot of, and if you want to count Brinson Robinson in there, we're not even talking about that. Before
and the quarterback of our defense, Pops.
There you go, Dumas Johnson.
I mean, that's
if they go in there and they play Bama tight, right? And we're going to get into playoff stuff in a minute, but you got to look at this Georgia team and go, holy cow! What if all these players are walking into the Mercedes-Benz on Saturday healthy? I don't think this game's even close. I don't think it's close. It's Nick Saban's retirement party if that happens.
I think so.
It could still be. It could still be, right? But But before we hop into,
Kirby's going to have a plan for old Jalen.
100%. Yeah, dude. I mean, he had a plan for my boy. Who's my boy at Tennessee?
Milton,
man. They got a great plan for Milton. He said, "Hey, Milton, you wanna beat us, bro? You sit in this pocket and you pick us apart." He couldn't do it. He could not do it.
Yeah. And Milroe didn't show me anything for 58 minutes Saturday. Yeah. He was not impressive until the last 2 minutes of the game.
I agree.
One lucky throw, bad defense. And that holding penalty gets called, and are we even having this conversation?
Yeah, man. Let's do that. Before we hopped on, we were talking about what we talk about, and I was like, I think it'd be fun to just clown around a little bit with some of the teams that are really just reeling in right now. As Georgia and Alabama are preparing to play an SEC championship, there's teams that are reeling, and then we'll talk about some keys to the game. We'll look at the rest of the games, and then we'll do some scores, and then we'll pick the Alabama Georgia game, even though I think you know what the pick's going to be.
I don't know, man. I might go Bama. Corso might shock the world. Pull out the elephant headgear.
Pray to God he pulls the hell. I want him to pull that headgear on Saturday. But dude, let's talk about it real quick. South Carolina, man. Dude, South Carolina is in meltdown mode right now, right? So they're losing people to the portal left and right. I said that I would find it hard to believe that their head coach would make it through the season to the end. What's your thoughts on South Carolina?
I think if his last name wasn't Beamer, he'd probably be gone.
Yeah. You're right about that, man.
I think that carries a little weight, because Frank Beamer was who he is, one of the best coaches, I think. Not the best, but one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah. You think him and Sam Pittman are on the same contract status right now? They got one more year?
Kind of got to be, right?
Right.
I
agree. I mean, dude, I don't know how. Could it be a delayed firing? Because there's so many players from South Carolina hitting the portal. It's a joke, man. I saw 2 receivers. I saw a defensive lineman. I've seen 4 or 5 players hit the portal, man. And, you're already losing, you're losing Rattler. You're losing. I mean, the portal is kind of it's a crap show sometimes, because it's either, if I'm not getting playing time and I'm not on a good team, I'm gone, or if I'm not getting enough, looks like as a quarterback. And, if you're, I'm just looking at a couple quarterbacks that I've seen. The Kansas State quarterback hopped in. I think the kid finally from Coastal Carolina hopped in. AJ Swan from Vanderbilt hopped in. There's a lot of quarterbacks, dude. He might end up in Florida, but so you look at all this and you're like what? Like it's got to be. They might delay fire him, right? Because we're not to the end of the season, right? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't shock me because, dude, when they see the portal, they're like, these guys are gone. If we're going to rebuild, and for him, he might walk in the office and be like, hey, I'm out. Why stay here?
I think they're probably just going to see how far the bottom falls out.
Right.
Meaning, how many people, walk out, mass exodus, is this what happens? Or is it just, what it is now and just maybe a couple more, maybe because it's hard to believe that he's still got a job, honestly, after the way he performed this season. Got lucky at the end of last year, just 2 miracle weeks of his life of, South Carolina football, probably the best 2 weeks of South Carolina fans' life in a recent history. So they have not been good in a while.
No, man. And the crazy thing is they got the most television coverage the last 2 games of playing. They played night games the last 2 games of the year. They got more television coverage for.
Oh, don't get me started on last year and Georgia's lack of television night games.
Right.
That was a joke. How many noon kickoffs can the number 1 team in the nation have, defending national champions? You know what I mean? Thank God they fixed that a little bit this year.
Yeah, well, it's good for my wife because she doesn't stay up past 7. So,
there you go.
I agree. This year was definitely a struggle for her. But I agree, man. But dude, they were more known the last 2 games for the Sandman. Their fourth quarter. It's
yeah.
But dude, and then you look at Sam Pittman. And I'm gonna give a shout out Grant Adams. I'm trying to get Grant Adams. This is your invitation, man. Come on in the next few weeks, and let's talk about Sam Pittman. I love Sam Pittman, man.
He was at here. Georgia. Yeah. I mean, he was great at Georgia. I hated to see him go, and I was actually a little nervous that he went to Arkansas. Glad he went to the West, but I was kind of wow. He stayed in the SEC. That's not good. They're going to challenge Bama, and boy, was I wrong.
Well, we've always known that he's been built, and he has to be. He's kind of that CEO mentality. He's an offensive line coach, so he needed that offensive defensive mind. I think he got the defensive mind, but dude, when Kendall Briles bolted, I think that was it for him. I think he made a terrible choice, the next few years. And you said it earlier. Look who's coming. Dude, you bet on my man. Oh my gosh, man. I can't even believe this, dude. I cannot even believe I'm saying this. The man got fired from Arkansas. Did he even have a career with Atlanta, dude? I was moved out of the state by him, but
what a joke.
Petrino is, I don't know.
The Grim Reaper. This is Sam Pittman's last year. That's what this means.
Right. Because it was Jimbo's last year, right?
Yep. So now he's on to Pittman. And, what are they going to do? Fire Pittman, hire him back? That's got to be the AD's swan song. He's just trying to get himself fired.
Apparently, they want Gus back in Arkansas. Did you know that?
Really?
They want Gus back in Arkansas.
I always liked Gus. I'm not an Auburn fan, but he is one of my favorite Auburn coaches that they've ever had. And, I do cheer for Auburn sometimes when they're not playing Georgia, because my wife is a huge Auburn fan. I even have a Bo Jackson jersey from college.
Okay. We'll make it. We'll hopefully when we see it, we'll look at it and say it's a Herschel Walker jersey.
There you go. Yeah, it's navy blue, so it can't be mistaken for black. So
there you go. There you go.
But I'm a huge Bo fan.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about, and then Lebby, man, dude, Lebby to Mississippi State, that was kind of a sneak hire. And I was like, that actually is good. You might actually get Will Greer now to stay at Mississippi State, maybe, right?
Yeah, possibly. Very much good. Yeah. Now that they, their poor defensive coordinator that got hired as the head coach. What was his name? Zach?
Yeah.
Something.
Zach Arnett.
Yeah. He was a great defensive coordinator, and I totally get why they hired him, but I think he was just in over his head. He wasn't ready.
It's bad too, because I think it was a hire based off of team morale after losing Leach. I think it's hey man,
they were real tight.
Yeah, and I think it was like players are like, okay, are they gonna? Maybe it's a rally call. We get up and we play for Mike, and maybe
Yeah.
one of the worst decisions they could have ever made. I
But
think
they
that
didn't
this
know that at the time. It was, like you
offensive court,
said, probably an emotional decision.
yeah, but was the offensive coordinator the bad hire? Because maybe Zach Arnett was. If, that's the thing. Leach is scoring 50, 60 points a game. So the defense, I mean, Arnett's gonna look like a champ. But now that pro style offense that was inserted, it was just like, whoo, boy,
It did not
it was
pan
bad.
out.
It was
It
bad,
did
dude.
not pan out.
It was way bad. And
Yeah,
then
very.
you got Texas, Oklahoma entering in next year with Levy. You know, so Levy's leaving Oklahoma. I think I
Yeah.
told you something earlier when we preview these games, but Levy's leaving Oklahoma. I would have loved for BYU to beat Oklahoma State, so I could see Oklahoma and Texas rematched.
Dude,
Because
don't count Mike Gundy out. He's been at
Yeah.
Oklahoma State forever. And like there's a reason, you know, he always seems to find a way to pull these games out, but he'll also blow some games every now and then.
Yeah.
But
It's the massive mullet, man. Massive mullet.
I am going to have my orange and black on
Dude.
Saturday.
Dude. And then, man, what's the disheartening thing of the most was Auburn. Oh my gosh, man. Talk about a wave of a season. And shout out to my brother. You said your wife is an Auburn fan. My brother's a diehard Auburn fan.
It's hard work being an Auburn fan this year.
Dude, it is, man. Especially have you seen the memes that Jimbo's going to Auburn? Hilarious.
Lord.
I mean, what is it like? He doesn't even have to move. Like the drive's like 30 minutes longer. Anyways,
dude, if he ever works again, I'll be surprised. If I just got $90 million, $79 million, whatever, 50, even if it was just $50 million a buyout on my contract, do I really want to work? You know, do I need to?
Yeah.
You know, can I just ride off into the sunset because I'm a huge joke right now as far as coach goes. You know, the man could sell ice to an Eskimo, but he couldn't coach himself out of a wet paper bag.
Dude, that's so true. Somebody said, they said, is Petrino? Are they still paying Petrino at Arkansas from his last buyout? How funny is that, dude? He comes in and he's double dipping because he's getting paid from when they fired him. Because I don't think they fired him with a cause or something like that, or maybe they mutually split. I mean, the guy basically, I don't want to go too far on this, but what did he do? He wrecked a motorcycle with the lady that he was cheating on his wife with, something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
I love that mugshot that went around Facebook for a while with him with the neck brace on and just looking all sad. His face is all beat up.
He should have that neck brace to Jimbo because he basically knew. And then they claimed that Jimbo was the problem, and that when that all made. Tell me why Max Johnson hits the portal. It is Johnson, right, Max? Tell me why he hits the portal after the season's over.
Leaves the quarterback guru, you know. What guy would want to walk away from that? There's obviously a reason, you know. There has to be a reason.
Exactly. So let's look at Adam. Let's talk about this. Is the real thing. I think if anybody's joining tonight, they probably want to hear. You know, obviously we look at this game coming in, and we're going to preview this game, and we're going to talk about the other games going on around it. But an easy way to talk about the games going on around it is to talk about what the playoff committee is going to have to go through on Sunday. And I'm hoping that they don't have to go through much. Our ideal scenarios are Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Florida State wins, and Oregon wins, and so be it. But, you know, even before we got on, we were chit-chatting, we were like, dude, you know, it's hard to understand what the committee wants. Do they value the regular season? Do they value the playoffs? Because if they value the regular season, then the 4 teams that are sitting there right now should be in the playoffs because they're all undefeated, right?
Yeah.
But do they? Because a lot of people are picking Oregon to beat Washington. And why?
Because they're hot.
Because they're hot, right?
Hot right now.
But also, is it because Washington has dropped the duck twice in a row? They almost get beat by Oregon State, and then they barely pull it out against, Washington State and then Oregon State.
I'll give them a pass on that Oregon State game because the weather was terrible, and their offense is pass heavy, you know, because of Penix. So, and it's hard to throw the ball in the rain. I mean, they were dropping balls all over the place. I watched that game. I love me some Pac-12 after dark. Now, I'll stay up and watch it.
Some of the best games of the year happened up until 2 a.m.
They don't even have to be ranked. Like that Colorado State game was one of the best games I've seen all year.
Yeah.
It was a great game.
That's another one when you talk to Dion about is, bro.
Oh, I cannot wait to see the portal action he gets. I
It's already
cannot
started.
wait.
Before the portal, it started. He's got 2 quarterback commits that decommitted. He's got I will say that the guy, what is it, Cam somebody from Statesboro that was Georgia was on his list. He's going out to Colorado.
Yeah.
There's some weirdness going to happen there, man, because it's just so.
He better get Shedeur an offensive line. That's all I got to say, because that kid can't take another beat down like that.
He better wrap Shedeur in
bubble wrap.
I don't know. Yeah, bubble wrap, duct tape, all that stuff, man, because he won't make it to the NFL with an offensive line like that.
Not getting beat up like that, dude. Did you see the last 2 or 3 games of the season before he got hurt and sat out the last one? Like, I mean, geez, the kid was getting knocked down every play, dude.
He's bad.
Like, his offensive line may as well just not even been out there.
And the fact that, so remind me this, so Colorado goes Big 12 next year? They're moving to the Big 12, right?
Yep.
The Pac-2. That's another reason as a committee should just vote the Pac-12 out this year. Because it's like, dude, you left the Pac-2 out there. I mean, for that alone.
What's it, Stanford and Cal, right?
Yes, Stanford and Cal. So here's the thing: if it stays the same right now, so obviously the committee has to go back to work, because if it stays the same right now, look at the flawed. I mean, so we get 12 teams, perfect, great. It'll open it up a little bit, but look at the jacked upness about this. They guarantee that the conference champion gets home field advantage and a bye. So you're telling me, once again, this is where they jack it up. You're telling me that the conference championships matter. Why? So you're telling me the number 20 ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys that have lost 3 to 4 games this year deserve to be a bye and a home when somebody like a Florida State, let's say if they're in that scenario, win all their games, but now they got to play somebody on the road in the first round?
Yeah.
How? Like, I don't understand that. And oh, by the way, if you keep it the way it is right now, the Pac-2, like they go 6-6, they could barely even make a bowl. Better yet, now they get to play for their championship. And oh, by the way, they can host.
This opened up a whole new set of problems that they're going to have to work through and talk about, because how is that a Power 5 conference?
Just stop playing conference championships.
It's not going to be, right? Like,
no. It can be. That'll be the dude. We'll be the laughing stock of. I don't know, man. If that's the case, yeah. Period. If that's the case, like, what are you doing, man? Like, Georgia. I mean, Georgia's opening up with Clemson next year. You got people that are just looking. I mean, I applaud Alabama for. I mean, can we not remember that we wanted Oklahoma this year? By the way, we didn't get.
Yeah,
them.
They backed out.
They backed out.
They backed out, and I don't blame them, because we would have beat them down.
Yeah,
but our schedule would look a whole lot better. Our schedule would have looked a whole lot better with that win, though, especially after they beat Texas.
Right, and they give us, who do we play? Bowling Green.
Yep. Yeah. Might as well been
Ball State.
Ball State. There you go. Yeah.
So we get Ball State.
Cardinals.
But I applaud Saban for playing Texas. I mean, that's another thing. It's like you can't. That's why we're talking about it. But so you look at it. If they, I think you just stop the conference championships. Stop it. Because number one, you said, and I love this 12-team playoff, and I'll tell you why. It's because teams get better throughout the year. You could have injuries on the first 2 games of the year, and you choose, an Alabama choose to play Texas, and they lost.
Yeah.
But other teams chose to play, I don't know, sorry, Auburn, I'm going to go with you on this one. New Mexico State and lose at home. So there's other teams that are picking other games, but yet you're telling me that the teams that are, Milroe finds himself, the offensive line finds himself, the team chemistry finds themselves, and Alabama sees themselves possibly not making the playoff this year when they should be sitting there totally realistically cruising into the playoff. So stop this. And by the way, Ohio State, now, they get to sit at home this weekend. They get to sit at home. And what if, and this would be the Alabama Auburn kind of type upset of the year if that would have happened. And we didn't talk about it. I wish we would have, but it would be that kind of thing. What if Iowa, like what if, man, what if Michigan doesn't show up?
I'm getting my Hawkeye on this weekend.
It could happen, bro. It could happen because that defense,
12-6.
That defense is legit, man.
12-6 final score.
So, and also, by the way, you're telling me that Blake, because Iowa's rush defense is number uno in the Big Ten.
And all
over
Michigan can do is run the ball.
right over Michigan.
They showed us last weekend that they were just willing to sit back and run the ball for 30 minutes. And
Exactly.
why would they do that? Why else
because
would they
they
do that if they weren't
because they don't
confident in the passing game at all?
yeah, they don't trust Cade McNamara at all. It's crazy, man. Who am I getting a message from right here? Look at some comments. Bro, sorry. I'm not getting any comments. Greg said, look at some comments. Hold on, man. What you commenting on, Greg? It's probably on my personal page. Go to @ReadyTechGo, man. Greg Dominique, dude, ask me the questions right here, Greg. That's why you needed to come on the show, man. It's 8:30. His son had a basketball game tonight. I asked him to come on,
Gotcha.
but he's gonna be on here next week, bro. We'll let little
Cool.
Greg Dominique actually come on here. But here's
That'd be awesome.
here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. So as we look at these games, Greg, go to the @ReadyTechGo and follow that and type on that one or the YouTube page. So here's the thing. As we look at the committee, so let's do the daunting task right here. Georgia loses. Let's say Georgia loses in the SEC championship, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, every Georgia fan comes in and goes, "What you need to happen is Florida State." They basically have told us if Georgia loses, we are the ones that opens up the crap show. We switch rooms now. Look, there's Bobby Riles. Let's go, man. So let's say they lose, right? What happens? Like, what are some scenarios?
No.
So let's look at it. So Washington, Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Oregon wins. You got a Pac-12 champion. Are they in?
It depends on what happens to us. Because if we lose, we instantly go to the best win-loss team in the nation, in my opinion. And
okay, so you're saying Georgia's not out. You're saying Georgia's in if we lose.
If Texas, we need Texas to lose because they're not going to hold the Big 12 champs in if Texas wins. If Oklahoma State ends up winning, then no. So we need Texas to lose, and we need Florida State to lose. We need Louisville to rebound from that, sorry, pardon my French, shit show last week against Kentucky at home, and get the job done against Florida State. And because if we lose, I feel like we're out unless something like that happens. Because there's just a lot of teams sitting there, and Ohio State is Ohio State, and they got the benefit of the doubt last year. And would they get the benefit of the doubt again this year?
Okay, Adam, I didn't expect that answer from you, but you give the scary answer. My thing is this. Let's leave. So Bobby Riles says if you stack up all the one-loss teams, you got to see who had the best win, worst loss. I agree with that. Adam said it earlier. When you look at Tennessee, you look at Ole Miss, and you look at Kentucky, and you look at who am I missing? Missouri. So those four teams, when we played them, were all three of them were top. Two of them were top 10 teams. Four of them were top 15 teams.
Yeah.
So regardless of how they finished, they were all ranked top 15. If I go back to Texas, everybody's talking about this Texas-Alabama thing. Do you see what Texas has played this year besides they lost to Oklahoma, which was their best competition? Their only big win is Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
That's
which is a good win.
It's a great win. But wouldn't you say, let me be honest with you, wouldn't you love to watch that Alabama-Missouri game?
Yeah.
I'd love to watch that.
It's a shame
game.
They didn't get to play each other this year.
Exactly. And by the way, go look at Alabama's, that's a whole nother show. Go look at Alabama's 2024 schedule. That's a joke too. So when you look at some of these things, it's like, I agree with Bobby. Like you look at the best loss and I agree with that. And that's where I would say Georgia is in. And I'll tell you why. Number one, Georgia's only loss would have been to a now SEC champion, not a regular season game. That means Florida State would have lost. Right. So Florida State wins. They don't have a loss. But what's their best win? What's Florida State's best win? LSU, right?
God, yeah, LSU.
LSU.
Back early season LSU too. Early season Jaden Daniels, not middle of the season possible Heisman run Jaden Daniels.
Right. Right. So what's Michigan's best win? I go
Ohio
Penn State, Ohio State.
Yeah.
But everything else is a crap. 3 loss. That's true, man. That's true. So here's my thing. Let's knock one of them out right now. I said this to you earlier, and Bobby, you tell me if you agree. I think Florida State has to blow Louisville out, and I don't know if they can. That's where this is my first chink in the armor, and believe me, I'm a believer, man. I think we're gonna win Saturday.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking at a team that deserves to be in the top four. They're one of the top four best teams in the nation, not because of 2 years of wins, because they've shown it with injuries, with tons of injuries, that they're undefeated right now, and they play in the most dominant conference in college football.
It is supposed to be about the best 4 teams, not the analytics, not all that other stuff. The best 4 teams in the game. And can you honestly say that a one-loss Georgia isn't one of the best, teams, one of the best 4?
100%.
I mean, there could be 2 SEC teams if
here's
another top
question.
4 best 4 teams.
But is Alabama in if they win? Fishy there? Did I lose you? You buffering? You're back.
Yeah.
Is Alabama? If Alabama wins, are they in?
Got to be.
I don't know, man.
If they win,
I don't know, because it's not about conference championships.
Yeah.
It's about the best 4 teams. Let me ask you this: if the committee said Bama was better than Ohio State, why didn't they put them above Ohio State? They needed them to beat Georgia. Maybe that's it.
I can't believe Ohio State only fell 4 spots. I thought that was kind of weird.
But they lost to the then number 2 ranked team. No, I'm sorry, number 3 ranked team in the nation. So that's the best loss out of any team. Nobody's in the top 4 that's lost to Georgia.
Mm-mm.
So it's the best loss by any other team. That's probably why they're 6. Oregon has the second best loss. Bama could win and leave SEC out. Nope. I can't see that happening, dude.
No way.
No, I will tell you
no way. There's no way.
There'd be mute. I mean, and if they're gonna blow the roof off, no, we talked about Texas. I don't think, man. Okay, hold on, Bobby. Let's look at Texas, man. This is what I want you to see about Texas, and this is what I think the committee is going to look at. So you look at schedule. We real time here, man. Hoping my internet's working a little quicker. All right, so we're looking at my boys from Texas. So we know they lost to Oklahoma, right? Red River rivalry.
Tongue twister.
Rice. They beat Rice. Not a quality win.
Alabama's quality win. It wasn't even a good win. Did you watch the game? Did you see it? Like, they struggled.
No. Yeah, they struggled.
It was close for a little while. I mean, eventually it wasn't, garbage points towards the end, but
right. So it was pretty close. You got Wyoming, not quality. Baylor, not quality.
Not this year.
Kansas was ranked 24th at the time. Is Kansas ranked still?
If they are, they're in the bottom. They're in the bottom 5. If they are,
no, this is live rankings. This is live rankings. 24. Okay. Oklahoma, they lost to Oklahoma. They barely scraped by Houston, who lost their coach this year. Dana Holgerson's gone. Yep. BYU. Okay, let's measure this. So BYU, they beat BYU 35-6, and Oklahoma State struggled. That doesn't bode well for Oklahoma State. No. They beat Kansas State 33-30. Number 23 ranked team in the nation, 33-30. TCU, here's the big one. TCU is not relevant this year. They are not relevant.
Oh, no, they proved that when they got their doors blown off by Colorado at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I agree. TCU by 3 points. Texas Tech, okay, 57-7, but who hasn't done that at Texas Tech?
Yep.
Below Oklahoma State out, and then maybe we can start finagling through this, but I still can't see this. Bobby, I still can't see this. Georgia blows out Tennessee in Neyland. Georgia blows out a top 10 Ole Miss team. Bad. Georgia beats a really good Missouri team, and I don't ever think Missouri really had them on the ropes, but it was a close game. I was there at that game. They never were tested. It was just a close game. It was never out of hand.
Yeah.
And then Kentucky's a blowout.
Yep.
And Kentucky beat Louisville.
And Kentucky was ranked when we played them.
So that's why I say if Florida State doesn't beat Louisville by a lot, then there's Florida State.
I think they could get left out unless they just destroy Louisville.
They did struggle in several games. I watched the Texas Tech game, and they ran them out of the stadium. They looked good regardless of who they played. Texas Tech, man. All right. I mean, you're valid there. I'm pulling Texas Tech. So do we penalize Bama for Auburn and Arkansas? Heck yeah. Well,
could.
I mean,
and USF, can't forget about that game.
Oh, USF. What was the Arkansas score?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Texas Tech, man, is 6-6 this year. They should have blown them out. Well, I don't know what was the Arkansas score, but here's the thing too. Also, if you remember this 3-point win, I think okay, but then look at this. It was close with Auburn, who blew Arkansas out.
Yep.
Arkansas got blown out by Auburn on the road. Like Auburn went on the road. This is the Auburn team that lost to New Mexico State at home and literally wet the bed against Alabama last week. Literally wet the bed. So I mean, obviously, if I think Florida State's out if they don't blow Louisville out. I really think that. I strongly believe Texas is out. I think they're out, man. I don't think they have enough good wins. I don't care.
Even if they look good Saturday.
You think Texas is better than a one-loss Washington or a one-loss Oregon?
I just think the way the committee works, and because it's not always about the best four teams. It's about conference championships mattering, Big 12. I don't know. Everybody else, all the talking heads seem to think that Texas wins their end too.
Herb Street seems to think that the committee is about the best four teams. He says they have a job to put the best four teams in, and they are not at liberty to talk about what should happen, is what he said. Now, I'm just telling you that Kirk Herbstreit is the voice of college football right now. Because my man Lee Corso isn't anymore because he's struggling in age a little bit. But I would say the voice it ain't Pat McAfee, but the voice of college football right now and the people that are listening to somebody is Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah. Lee Corso, by the way, is the only reason I still watch Game Day. I watch SEC Nation all the time. Yeah. That's my preferred go-to game day show now because game day is just crazy now.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna make. I want to see what you'd say, Bobby. Throw yours in there too. Greg, you ain't commented yet, dude. I don't see you, man. Throw it in the comments if you see me. I have something right. Herbstreit has all hell breaks loose if Bama beats Georgia. I agree with that.
It will.
We're the team that we are the pressure point, and Florida State's the pressure release valve. If Florida State loses to Louisville, then all this pressure comes off, I think. So it be, because
that's one team out of the way for sure.
Yeah.
We're definitely a better one-loss team than Florida State if they lose. Like,
I agree.
Gotta be.
I watch SEC Nation too. So really quick, I'm going to give you, Fish, what do you think? Georgia wins. What does it look like? What's the top four?
If Georgia wins?
Yeah.
Georgia, Michigan beats Iowa. They're number 2. Washington wins. They're number 3. Florida State loses. Texas, if they win, slides in maybe to number 4.
Are these your predictions too on the game? We're not going to really pick the games, but
not yet.
Are you thinking Washington beats Oregon?
Yeah, I think so. Inside, Michael Penix is going to show out. Bo Nix is going to show out. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, maybe like 49-42, something like that. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I know where I'll be tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow night. You're right.
Yep.
You're right. So you got Georgia winning, obviously, and you got Georgia. You got Michigan, you got Washington, and you got your fourth is Texas.
Texas, if they win and Florida State loses. Now, if Florida State wins, I think they slide in to number 4 if they win and Georgia wins. Because Bama obviously will be out with 2 losses.
Okay.
If Washington wins, Oregon's obviously out with 2 losses. So that gets them out of the way. So, yeah, if Texas wins. Now, if they lose and Florida State loses,
Who do
If
you got if
Georgia
Georgia
loses,
loses?
I got Georgia number 4. I got Bama number 3. I've got Michigan number 1 if they take care of business, and I've got Washington number 2.
Texas is out.
Yep.
And who
I'm
else
a
is out?
biased
Florida
Georgia
State.
fan, so
Of
yes,
course. But
we're
I just think
definitely a better one-loss team than Texas
they're
if they
in.
lose
Like
or win.
the committee's not. I don't care about the last 2 years. People think it's about the last 2 years. It's not about the last 2 years. It's about the fact that look at the quality wins.
It is about the last 2 years. It's got
So
to
I
be
got
right.
Greg. I got Greg right here who's messaging me saying, "Who does Georgia have spying on the quarterback Saturday?"
Oh, CJ Allen, baby.
I like CJ Allen. Do we think Pop is going to make an appearance, dude, with the club?
If he does, and CJ Allen is going to slide over and play beside him, Bama's not going to run the ball against us, especially because they're starting running backs out he's out for the game. He's already out for the game, so
Yeah.
they're in a hole already. So they better hope Pop doesn't play Saturday.
I'm going back to Kirby's his presser on Monday, and they asked him at the end. They said, "So Dumas Johnson did not have surgery, correct?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Okay. So if it did not require surgery, will he be playing on Saturday?" And Kirby goes, "Pop is week to week." Maybe he said day to day. No further questions, and he left. Bro, if Dumas,
Well, he was catty about Brock too. I mean, he's not going to come out and tell Nick Saban, "Hey, this guy is going to be ready to play you. This guy's going to play you. This guy's not going to play you. I want you to know how to plan and scheme for me, okay?
dude,
I
he's
want you to
letting
know."
nothing go. He's letting
No,
zero
of course
go.
not. No,
But
not at
to
all.
Greg's answer, I think that there could be a combination of that, and I'll tell you why, Greg. I think we saw what happens if I don't think containing Milroe works. I think you have to pressure Milroe, and I think you have to make him throw and
He's
make
not a
quick
pure passer.
decisions. Yes.
How many?
You gotta make
What do
him
you have? 12 seconds to throw that ball last week? 10, 12
Well,
seconds?
Well, Auburn rushed too. Like,
I mean,
and
hell,
one
I
was
could
being
do that.
held.
Any one of us could go out there with 12 seconds to watch
Yeah.
our guy run down the field, stand in the back corner of the end zone with nobody within 2 yards of him. You know,
Yeah.
the cornerback acted like he wasn't even there until the ball was halfway there, and then it was curtains. I mean, the wide receiver was about probably 4 inches taller than the cornerback too. I mean, he was a giant compared to that little
Bro,
guy.
I would have sent at least 4, maybe 5.
Drop 8, put 6 on the goal line and 2 in the middle, and boom. Like, you know, guard the goal line because that's what's going to they're going to throw it deep. Obviously, you got 6 guys back there. Bama's only going to have at least 4 receivers, maybe 5 down there. So you got them outmanned. And then you got 2 guys short that can drop back too.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
a
going to be a
brilliant play
40-yard
call,
pass.
by the way. It's a great,
Yeah.
and Nick's right. They practiced it. They ran
What's
the
it called?
2,
Gravedigger or something like that? Is
Yeah,
that
so
what
they
said
run
it
the
was?
2 outside fly routes, and then they have the inside guys. They dig,
Yep.
and they cross.
Yep.
And you have you have that running back. Well, guess what? You had a freaking 5th receiver downfield because the running back didn't have to chip block. He's
Yep.
like, well, damn, I'm just gonna go out then, like, because. So, anyways, answering your question, Greg, like, I think, man, I agree with Adam. I think CJ Allen is a talent. I think he is. After 3 games, you're not a rookie anymore. And CJ Allen and Raylan
Not
Wilson
SEC games.
right.
Not top 10 ranked SEC games, primetime games. Like, that's it. That's the show.
Yeah. Another thing we haven't talked about is the fact that how well Georgia's played on the road this year, and this is not a road game for Georgia. This
Nope,
is a
this
neutral
is definitely
site.
a home game. No,
It's a neutral site, but it's going to feel like a home game. And
It's a home game.
Yeah,
We're going
it's
to
a
wear
home
white
game.
because we're playing Bama. We're going to wear
Yeah.
white because that's what we were wearing last time we beat them. And yeah, there is a little superstition involved in it. Got to be.
Right. You think we wear white? Is that
We are
confirmed?
wearing white. Yeah, it's
I didn't-
confirmed.
I didn't know that, man. Does Kirby even choose that? Like, I didn't think he was that.
I'm not sure. I think the higher ranked or the previous SEC champion maybe gets to pick
Right.
what they wear, but we're above Bama and we're the reigning SEC champ. So I feel like we did get to pick. And I think maybe it has a little something to do with last time we played them, we were wearing red. We got beat the last 2 times in the national championship and then the SEC championship,
Mhm.
in 21. And last time we played them in the Natty in 22, or in 21, excuse me, we were wearing white.
Yeah. Bobby, I'm gonna catch up on your comments. It's also about TV ratings. There's strong draw to. I hope. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I hope. My thing is I think the conference championships suck because I think this is a preview of possibly another national championship.
Oh, this
And
is
so you're
semifinal
making-
weekend.
Yeah, you're making Alabama and Georgia play each other while, let's just be honest, guys, Texas and gals, if anybody's working, Texas, Oklahoma State, bro, Oklahoma State ain't getting no media time if they're not in this conference championship.
No, none whatsoever.
And Iowa, dude, how many teams can say they fired their offensive coordinator and they're in the SEC champion? They're in the Big Ten championship. I mean, I don't know who can. It's just
their
it's
kicker
ridiculous.
better get the Luke Rosa this year. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
because that dude has earned his NIL money.
Well, I'm kind of happy that there wasn't a bunch of uprising last weekend, even though there was threats of it with Texas and I mean, there wasn't threats of Texas State, but you looked at Washington and Washington State, who had to win by a field goal. You looked at Florida State, who kind of got weird. Florida just didn't. We don't have time for that. But
Florida games are scary. Rivalry games are different. They're different, you know.
But I was glad to see it not flip that weekend. Maybe it flips this weekend like that.
No, there's definitely going to be some controversy. It's got to be.
Yeah,
got to be.
I agree. I totally agree. Conference championships are penalties for undefeated. Yes, they are. The 4 teams that are there right now should be playing for in the playoffs. Period. They've done the most. You can't tell me, man, that I just find it hard to believe, man.
Oh, here's something the committee should look at too. Do you know, this is a crazy stat. We haven't allowed a single punt return yard all season.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
I mean, who does that? Who can say that? That's never happened, ever.
It's crazy, man. I don't even think these conference championships need to be played because I promise you, you know, let's look at, we got time. Let's look at East and West of the SEC, right? So you look at the top 3 teams in the West, which are Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss. Let's even go a step farther and let's throw who's going to finish it for A&M? Is it A&M? Okay. Anyways, so top 3, right? LSU. We didn't play LSU, but we head to head with Ole Miss, a team they beat by a couple touchdowns. We beat them by about 4, maybe 5. I don't know.
52-17.
Yeah. So that's that. Well, then you go, let's step over to the East where you look, Missouri did not play Alabama this year. Tennessee did, but it was a closer game than ours. And was Alabama at home or on the road?
That was a home game for Bama.
Okay. And then you got 4. Who's 4? Florida? Florida or Kentucky, dude?
Sorry.
I don't know. And no offense,
got to be Kentucky. Got to be Kentucky, probably. Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, like, you got to say that the season it means something. One game can't knock you out, man. One game can't. For Florida State, it can because they don't play anybody, man.
Oh, the ACC is a joke.
Clemson is not Clemson this year. North Carolina started out like
better buy real estate. Better buy real estate. Isn't that what Dabo said? Better invest in Clemson. Dabo. Oh my God.
The ACC, man. The Florida State, man, they were finally going to bring the ACC back to life, man. And poor Jordan Travis's leg, man. Cheer, Lord.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
I hope Florida will finish below 500 again next year. Well, I mean, they're not going to recruit well this year. I mean, the portal is about to flash again.
And that's crazy. That's Napier's thing. Like, he's a recruiter.
It's hard to recruit. It's hard to recruit, man, when you're not in the SEC, when you're not putting players in the NFL.
They got money too. They got a bunch of NIL possibilities sitting around there.
Maybe it's going to the baseball program.
Must be, right?
Their schedule is brutal. Well, next year Georgia's is too.
Oh, dude, we got Alabama, Texas next year. Basically all the best teams.
Did I see where that it's all home games and then 4 away games?
Who? Us next year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw.
I don't know.
Hold on one second.
I want to check that out. That's a crazy stat.
So I saw the let's see here, Georgia 2024. football schedule. Boom, here it is. So this is what I got. I got Clemson at the Benz, Tennessee Tech at home, Alabama. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. They just had it stacked. So we're at Alabama, at Texas. Florida is neutral site. UMass Tech is middle of the season.
How are
Auburn's at
Texas
home.
and Bama both road games?
Crazy, man. At Kentucky. At Ole Miss to finish the year. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like we're being punished.
Well, while
That's
we're
what it
doing
kind
it,
of
man,
feels like.
while we're doing it, watch this, dude. Flash over to Alabama, dude, before Heupel. Jesus, that's crazy. No, that's Tennessee Tech, bro. That's Tennessee Tech. That would be scary. It's Tennessee Tech, then Bama, and no, Tennessee's later.
Oh, okay.
Because Bobby Rouse put before Heupel.
Gotcha. No, I can't see the comments, by the way. They're popping up, but they're tiny.
Oh, see, I got you. I'm trying to backtrack. I want to just to end this, and then to we'll make some picks, man, kind of, and
That's cool.
I want to hear what Bobby throw your top four, man. If Georgia wins, who's your top four, Bobby? Alabama 2024 football schedule. Watch me blow your socks off on this one, man. Western Kentucky, USF, at Wisconsin. I don't know if they thought that was going to.
Hey, that's a revenge game for USF, right? That's a revenge game.
Yeah, when USF lost their quarterback already to the portal. At Wisconsin, they have Georgia. Okay, that one's at Tennessee, at LSU. Here we go. Mercer at Oklahoma, Auburn, Missouri. My bad. I was wrong. It's a little weird for Alabama too. It's weird for every SEC team, dude.
Auburn is definitely going to be improved next year, though. Hugh Freeze is not a bad coach.
You got to get a quarterback.
He'll get one.
You got to snag one out of the portal. Bobby's got UGA, Michigan, Oregon, Texas. You like Texas, man.
If they win, man, I'm telling you.
Who gets in,
if
Bobby?
We win and they win.
Bobby, who do you got? Who do you got if Georgia loses? And then I'm gonna tell you who I got in those two scenarios. And then let's pick these games. That'll be fun. Let me pull the schedule. I'd love to know what Bobby has. Do you know Fish? Do you know Bobby Rouse?
Name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Me and Bobby played
from Americas.
Yeah, me and Bobby played. Bobby's a pastor now in the Macon Warner Robins area, Cordele type area. And
awesome.
Me and Bobby played baseball with the Travelers. Okay, I'll give you a story. It was the year. So I met Bobby the year that we played for the Travelers, and I went and jumped over and played an 18 and under game and got the Crawdads kicked out of the state.
You did. You did.
That was Bobby, man.
That's right.
That was Bobby.
Oh my God.
And Grant Adams, dude. Grant called me and he threatened my life, dude.
Dude, you suck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yes, I remember that. How did I forget that?
If Tim Estes are on here right now, which go follow Tim Estes too, Integrity Sports Podcast. Go follow.
Yeah,
Tim.
I need to.
Great stuff.
But
dude, if Tim was on here right now, he did not instruct me well. He allowed me to go and play that team.
We were secondary. Yeah, you being on the Travelers was primary. That was it. That was it.
But
it's all good, man.
You know what the thing was we were the second team that year to the, I don't know what the first team was, and we would have played the first team, and we were heating up that year. We were heating up right when I got us kicked out. That was incredible. Man. Wasn't it in the middle?
You were our power hitter too. You were like our meat. Yeah. You were in the middle.
I went over to the 1800 Travelers to just get a couple of pitch hits and some mop up duty and got.
And you were the star of our team. You just bounced.
You're too kind, man. We had to put all our crap together, bro, because number one, it felt like we were the Bad News Bears because we looked at everybody and we were like,
we were the leftovers. The River Dogs got all the good people.
They were the River Dogs, man.
Yeah.
If MSDs watches this, bro, I think there was some home cooking there. And they put all the Bad News Bears on the Crawdads, man. Put all the Bad News Bears on it. So here we go. Yeah, if UJ loses, I'll be crying, dude. You don't want to see this man if we lose. This face will not be right.
I need 48 hours if we lose.
Dude, if we lose, there's going to be a lot of, Bobby, we're going to be in our prayer closet, bro. We're praying for the committee. We're praying for the committee hard. So he's got Michigan. Okay, he told the truth, man. Look at this guy. Bobby knows he's got to preach that next morning. He told the truth, man. He said Michigan, Oregon, Florida State, Bama. Okay.
That's true. I mean, we need two teams at least to lose. We need Washington, no, not Washington, but Louisville and Texas to lose to get out of our way. I mean, Florida State, sorry. Florida State and Texas. My bad.
All right. I'm gonna tell you what happens first if I think
Or else
if
we
Georgia
will be
wins.
left
So
out.
I think Georgia, if Georgia wins, and I do think we'll call it in a second. I think it'll be fun. And we'll end it that way. So Georgia wins. I think it's Georgia. I think Michigan comes in second. I think third is going to be, man. I think third is going to be Oregon, and fourth, you have me convinced about Texas, man. You got me convinced about Texas, and that's going to be very interesting because that means we draw Texas in the Sugar Bowl, which, if you remember correctly, there was
They beat
that
us.
old Sugar Bowl,
Bevo trying to kill Uga.
and we got beat, man, because half the team went out. And Kirby Smart coached that game, by the way. That'd be an interesting rematch, and that puts Oregon and Michigan playing each other. So, and
that
then
would be a fun game.
I love to destroy Texas. We won't sit anyone out this time. Exactly. We were sitting
Poor AD Mitchell. Oh, I'm gonna hate to do it to him.
My boss would hate me for keeping Florida State out and putting Texas in. But guys, I just gotta think that they have to blow Florida State. I mean, Florida State has to blow Louisville out. I don't think they can do it. I don't even think
it can't be a touchdown. It can't be a touchdown or less. It can't be for them.
I think if it's 7 points or less, it's a loss.
Yeah.
Okay, so long as we agree on that, because that's where I'm going to go with this. I don't think they can do that. So I got if Georgia loses, I think that Michigan's going to be one. I think that. All right, Michigan's one. I think Oregon's two.
This is if we lose, right?
If we lose, I think Georgia's three, and I think Bama's four. Let me tell you why. I think when you look at the loss,
I agree.
Because I think the quality you got. So no. Sorry, not Alabama, Texas. You can't do that because I'm going to have Texas in no matter what.
They are preaching that head-to-head matters, and they're saying that there's no way, even if Bama beats us, that they can jump Texas unless Texas loses.
Okay, that makes sense. So that puts Texas in.
Yep.
SEC was 7-9 out of conference. What were we out of conference?
Yeesh. Georgia.
No, here's the thing, man. Like, we tried to play Oklahoma, dude. You can't.
They backed out. Yeah. No, there's a reason our schedule looks the way it like a joke this year until we got to the end and we played 2 top 10 teams in a row. But nobody's talking about that.
Well, I'll tell you why I think Georgia's third is because you got to look at. I think Michigan has the two best wins, and they don't have a loss after that. So you can't bring in any of those Ole Miss, Tennessee wins or anything. So I see that. Oregon is a Pac-12 champion, and they would have lost to an undefeated. Okay, so that's why I think they get in their second. Georgia gets in their third. Now it still plugs that 2 and 3, because a lot of people are saying if Georgia wins, they have Georgia-Oregon in the Sugar Bowl, which is an interesting game. Dan Lanning, revisiting.
Bo Nix hasn't beat us yet.
Dude, I think so. That SEC podcast said Bo Nix just can't get away from Georgia no matter how hard he tries.
Nope, he can go to the other side, complete other side of the country. And
would that be his nightmare,
bro? Down by Georgia. Gotta be right. Gotta be. Red and black has to give him anxiety, I think.
He's like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to the other coast where they barely see sunshine, and I still see Georgia.
Yeah.
That
got him last year, get him again this year.
Yeah. So, dude, let's pick it really quick. Let's pick it. So, New Mexico State, Liberty, 7:00. This is tomorrow night, man. 7:00 tomorrow night. New Mexico State, Liberty. Remember, New Mexico State. Let's get a score. Let's get a score and a pick. They beat Auburn, and you got Liberty. It's in there at 24. Who you got? Fish?
Give me New Mexico State by 7.
New Mexico State by 7.
I think beating Auburn does a lot for them and their psyche heading into that game.
ESPN's giving Liberty 11 points, by the way. Bobby's got Liberty. I'm going with Liberty, man. They got Jesus on their side, bro. I'm going with Liberty. I'm going with Liberty, and by 10. Yeah, the spread's 11, so they don't cover. Okay, cool. I got Liberty.
I like an underdog.
I got Liberty close because it's spreads don't matter in championship week, man. You got the 8:00 game tomorrow night. Oregon, Washington. Oregon's 5, Washington's 3, 11-1. Oregon, Bo Nix right now 37 touchdowns this year. 37 touchdowns this year.
That man walks himself right to the Heisman conversation.
Guys, here's another one. Right now, Vegas has Oregon in 10. They're giving 10 to Oregon. Who you got, Fish?
Oh, Washington.
Washington.
I think Penix is going to show out. I think playing inside is going to do them a big, huge
Where's that
favor.
Game at?
Las Vegas in the Death Star, the whatever Allegiant Stadium or whatever it's called.
Where was that game before? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I couldn't remember where it was. I want to say, was it in California somewhere? No, it was in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's right.
It was in Phoenix.
That's right. Yeah.
No, it wasn't in Seattle. I don't think, Bobby. I think it was in Phoenix at whatever that stadium is that the Cardinals.
I think it was too, where the Cardinals play.
Yeah.
The Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. So Bobby's got Oregon in a close one. I got Oregon in a close one. I think
they're hot. But
redemption.
I've seen Washington play a few times this year, and that Oregon State game was sloppy. That is not passing weather that they were playing in, and his receivers were dropping lots of balls. They were just sliding right through their hands.
Remember Lanning though, man. Remember Lanning is from the Kirby tree, man, and I think he's gonna remember. Look, Lanning defense is a deciding factor. I think he's gonna remember, and he's gonna make adjustments. And Penix, he's got a lot of film to watch on how Washington State was able to contain him. I think the weather was Oregon State. I agree with you on that. So I got Oregon on that one. So 12:00 game Saturday, Oklahoma State, Texas. Hold on, let's don't pick that one yet. 4:00 game, SMU, Tulane. Tulane's 22nd in the nation, 11-1 this year, 10-2 SMU. Vegas says 3.5 for Tulane. Who you got?
Give me Southern Methodist.
Southern Methodist University. I got Tulane in this one, just for the mere fact that Tulane's 11-1 this year, 8-0 in the American Conference, which means, SMU is too. So honestly, I'm one of those whose line is it anyway on this one. I don't know. This points don't mean much.
I haven't seen
SMU play much this year, nor Tulane, but Tulane's ranked obviously for a reason, and they got a coach who didn't leave Tulane to go to Tech. So give me that one. Thank you for not coming to Tech, because I don't have to deal with you. So Bobby, you got Tulane by 6, and we got Grant with. Adam with SMU. So then we look at let's do it now. Let's go Oklahoma State, Texas, 12:00 game. Let's remember, this is Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. It's in Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big stadium, man. That's a big stage. Big stage for Texas. That's a home game for Texas, man.
Yeah, essentially.
Home game for Texas. Look at the line. Man, if you're Oklahoma State and Gundy, man, are you pissed? You got nothing to lose. 15.5 to Texas. Who you got?
Disrespect. Oh my God. As a Georgia fan, I want Mike Gundy to show up, coach the game of his life, and steal one from Texas.
Yeah.
That's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? Doubt it. I doubt it. I think Texas has got it. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going Oklahoma State. I'm going to tell you why. They scored 24 points in the first half, and you said it right. Van Gundy knows how to blow it. They scored 24 points early. I think if Texas allows more than 2-3 touchdowns in this game, it gets weird, because Texas's defense, their front is really good. Sweat's really good.
Yeah, they are.
And I think if you make Ewers one-dimensional, they have great receivers, but I think if you make him one-dimensional, that's where Oklahoma got him. It got to be a shootout. He had to throw the ball a lot because you couldn't run the ball. It was like, we got to go back and forth. And that's where they lost the game. They couldn't produce. It's what I want to happen, but I also think it's very well could happen. It's 12 o'clock too. The Big 12 is not used. I mean, the Red River rivalry was 12 o'clock, and Texas wasn't ready.
They weren't
and
ready.
Texas is not used to playing at 12 because they have been playing a lot of 3:30, 7 o'clock game. That's another thing. Plus, I think you're in a big stadium, man. Home game, you got nothing to lose. Texas defensive front is going to have a field day. They have a really good running back at Oklahoma State. Number 0, can't call his name, but he had a really good game against BYU. And granted, it's BYU, but I would have loved to have Oklahoma in this situation. I think Lebby would throw out the whole entire kitchen sink because he's like, I'm out of here anyway. I'm pissed no matter every freaking play.
Nothing to lose.
0. And wholeheartedly, he's like, we're not going into the top 4. So he's like, this is our Super Bowl. This is our national championship. Pull everything out. Michigan, Iowa, 8 o'clock, Fox, 10-2. Where's this game played at? Indianapolis. Lucas Oil. 8 o'clock game. Iowa, man, they're not going to know. Neither of these teams, by the way, are going to know how to really play this game because they're going to be warm. So
I think, man, if Michigan tries to run the ball the whole game, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. But if they come out and start throwing it, airing it out, letting JJ McCarthy let it rip. But I don't think they have very good wide receivers. I think they've got a couple of good running backs, and that's about it.
I think Michigan has to be careful on this one. I think Michigan's going to win, but they got to be careful, man, because low-scoring games are not in their favor, and I'll tell you why. If they have to throw the ball, I just don't think. Well, that's how they'll have to win. Bobby said they'll throw to the tight ends, and I agree. I think the tight ends are great for Michigan, better than their receivers. But Blake Corum doesn't have a game against Iowa. You're going to know what's happening. Number one, if Blake Corum doesn't have a game, it's going to be too close. And we'll look at Iowa's track record of close games this year. They kick field goals and they play defense. It could get weird, but I think Michigan wins.
Kicker. Kicker might win to Luke Rosen.
Yeah, I think Michigan wins, but would we love Iowa? Yeah, as a Georgia fan, you'd love Iowa to do that.
Well, Michigan played Iowa in the Big Ten championship year before last and just demolished them, destroyed them. It was ugly. It was a beatdown. But Iowa's a different team this year.
What if Iowa finds an offense, dude? Like, what if they just show up and score like 4 touchdowns?
Their quarterback comes out and just has a career day, throws for like 350, 3 touchdowns.
Well, isn't there now the guy that got hurt? Was that Cade McNamara from Michigan? That's interesting. Wasn't it Cade McNamara that got injured for Iowa? He was playing for Iowa. I bet he's pissed. He's like, man, I got a shot at my old team.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not pissed. I don't know. Louisville, Florida State. I got Michigan. Bobby's got Michigan by 2 touchdowns. They cover.
Yeah, I got Michigan.
Actually, you don't got Michigan covering. They got Michigan by 22. I don't even think that Iowa has allowed. They haven't allowed 3 games of 22 points this year. So
no,
I don't know.
They're not gonna get beat down that bad. If they
Here's a better question. Would you take that spread? I put money on that spread.
What was it again?
22.
22? Yeesh. That they don't cover?
They don't cover.
Yeah.
I'd take it because, I mean, okay, hold on. We got 2 more games. We got time for this. I want to see what Iowa scored this year. Bobby's like, yep. Bobby, you can't admit that, bro. That's gambling. I won't show this, and don't show this at church Sunday morning. So here's Iowa right here. Iowa allowed 14 points to Utah State. He laughed. 13 points to Iowa State, 10 points to Western Michigan. Dude, okay. Iowa, they lost. They allowed 31 to Penn State. That's where you kind of see the evenness of where Michigan could go with that. They allowed 16 for Michigan State, 14 Purdue, 6 for Wisconsin, 10 to Minnesota, 7. So it sounds like the threshold is that they can keep Michigan under 2 touchdowns. It could get weird, which is possible.
Wow, Penn State's the best team they played all year.
Yeah, 31-0. 31-0 on that one. Let me backtrack real quick. So you got Florida State, Louisville, 8 o'clock game. This is in Charlotte, North Carolina, man. 12-0 Florida State, 8-0 in the ACC versus 10-2, 7-1 in the ACC. One of those losses being to Kentucky in the SEC. Right now, look at this, guys. The point Vegas has it at a point and a half for FSU.
Dang.
That should get them out of the 14 playoff right there.
Yeah.
The fact that Vegas doesn't think they can beat them.
Yeah. About 1.5. Jeez.
I got Louisville, man. I'm gonna jump out there for you, y'all. I got Louisville. Shocker. I got Louisville by 10.
Yeah. By 10?
Louisville by 10.
Wow.
Yeah. You know why, man? If Louisville has a really, let me pull Louisville, has a really good defense. Here's another thing, man. Florida State, 45 degrees. It's going to be 45 degrees.
Ooh.
45 degrees. If we win, I want FSU to win. You want to play FSU? I mean, that is well, I'll say a bye. Let me give you Louisville's slate this. So 39-34 over Tech, Murray State, Indiana, Boston College. They had a better win against Boston College than Florida State did. Florida State beat them by what? Field goal? NC State.
That was the red bandana game. That was an emotional game for Boston College.
That
Florida State game.
Louisville beat Notre Dame 33-20.
Jeez.
Pitt. They beat Duke 23-0. Duke gave Florida State a little bit of a challenge.
Speaking of Notre Dame, the committee also can't forget in the grand scheme that Ohio State was 10 men away from losing that game. If Notre Dame's coaches happened to botch that, would they have scored that touchdown?
Yeah.
Because the hole he ran through was where the 11th man was supposed to be.
Are you surprised Ryan Day hasn't been fired?
A little bit. That's 3 in a row to Michigan that he's lost, and that up there, that's like Georgia, Florida. If you can't beat Florida, you can't be our coach.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that when you look back in the Mark Richt days, the fact that Georgia, Florida was important, but when we were struggling, I don't care Paul. What was Paul's last name? Oh, my boy Paul, the wishbone, the
Paul Johnson.
Yeah, when we couldn't beat Paul, man, not even Tech, but when we were hobbling in there every year going, we may win. That was kind of, I agree with that. Crosstown rivalry matters. Maybe it's still going to happen. Maybe, a lot of people are saying Harbaugh's out after this year. He's
gone. He's going to the NFL. He's tired of the college drama.
He should be. He needs to quit.
He is.
He needs to quit breaking the rules.
It's different in college. He can't do what he wants to do.
Day is trash. Yeah, I agree with that. Ryan Day says it's Ohio State against the world. Okay.
Whatever,
man.
dude. Go be an OC somewhere.
Bobby Rouse, we're doing a bowl. What do we call it? Fish? Just a bowl outlook show, something like that.
Yeah.
So, man, we're gonna get as many people in this room as we can. So, if you want to hop on next week, man, shoot me a message, man. We'll try to get a date together. Try to get Joe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the more the merrier. I think it'd be fun.
We'll look at all these bowl games. We'll look at hopefully we're not all crying. But let's pick it. I think we're gonna be biased, but let's pick it. So Georgia, Alabama, 4:00, 11-1 Bama, 8-0 SEC, Georgia 12-0, 8-0 SEC at Mercedes-Benz. Right now, it's back down. It was 6.5 yesterday. It's down to 5.5 today. I don't know why. I have no idea. Can't do Monday or Tuesday. I can't do Monday or Tuesday either way. I used to do my just regular podcast on Monday, but I can do Wednesday or Thursday. It's funny, man. If you guys want to, we can just do it right here. Anybody just hop on. We'll get the schedule together. UGA by 17 if Brock and Lab play. Ooh, that's ballsy, bro. Dude,
that's not wrong. That's not wrong. Our offense at full strength. Our offense at full strength is scary, and all they have is Dallas Turner and Kool-Aid McKinstry. The best name in the SEC. I will say that about him. And he's good. He's really good, but he can't be all over the field. And we're going to block Dallas Turner coming off the edge. So
do you guys think I'm gonna throw something out there before we pick this, because my iPad's gonna die too. I'm gonna pose a couple questions. Do you think that Bama's offense is better right now than Tennessee's offense? I don't say Georgia's. Tennessee.
Yeah, you caught me off guard when you said that, because I was ready to go no. But
I think Tennessee is very, very much how they. I think it's. I was waiting on this one because I think that you think Bama's offense is better than Tennessee. I agree, but I think that this is how they're going to try to attack Georgia, and it didn't work for Tennessee. They're going to try to spread everything out, They're going to try to get Milrose some lanes. They're going to try to run the ball, get him some RPO. It didn't work. Now, is Joe Milton less of an athlete but I compare their arm strength and I compare their arm accuracy. Milton and Milrose arm accuracy and strength are the same.
Milroe can throw a deep ball.
Uh-huh.
I will say that he can throw a deep ball. He's got good touch on those deep balls. He really does. Yeah. That's why it really doesn't surprise me that he threw a dime last week, right at the end of the game, because he had time to sit back there and wind up and throw it,
But guys, what about Ole Miss? Do you think Bama's offense is better than Ole Miss? Dude,
I don't know. They have a better quarterback, but all around, I don't know. Bama's O-line versus Ole Miss's O-line, I get the edge to Bama.
Don't you think Quinshon Judkins is better than any running back that Alabama has?
Yeah, got to be. Especially now, because we're going to be seeing their 2 and 3 string. We're not going to see their number 1.
Don't you think Jackson Dart is at least within, if you're grading out Milroe at an 88, say 88, 90, wouldn't you grade out Jackson Dart at an 85, 86?
Oh, Dart's way better passer. He's definitely a better pure passer than Milroe is.
And don't you think Kiffin, if somebody was going to dial something up against Georgia's defense, don't you think Kiffin was going to dial it up in the same type of offense?
I was very nervous against them for about 16 minutes.
Yeah. So
and then we opened.
That's why you go ahead. But I'm throwing some leaking out there and going. When you look at Tennessee, when you look at Ole Miss, when you look at Missouri, now Missouri gashed us off tackle with Schrader a lot.
Just like all.
So yeah. So you look at all the strategies, and so we held them in check. But I would say, if you look at Cook, granted Milroe's faster than all these people. If you look at Cook, you look at Milton, you look at Jackson Dart, and you look at, I'm not including Levis because Levis is the biggest disappointment in college football this year. Excuse me, the SEC. There's some more disappointments at quarterback, but not Levis, but what's the kid's name from Kentucky? He came from NC State. It starts with an L.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah,
Wouldn't we know him more if he actually did something this year?
Yeah, he was even on Feinbaum a couple of times at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Like he was that guy. He was supposed to be that dude. Kentucky was supposed to be number 2 in the SEC East this year.
I agree. So I look at those and I go, I think Kiffin's a better offensive coordinator. I think
he's
Cook
a better offensive
and Schrader was a better back. Cook was his, receivers are very similar. Burden, Weiss Jr. from Missouri. Like Missouri, I think Missouri has a really good defense, man. I think Missouri has as good of a defense as Alabama does. Secondary, maybe a little bit. I love Caleb Downs, man. I love Caleb Downs from Alabama. I think he's an incredible freshman. And Kool-Aid was good too.
Kool-Aid will be a first-round pick next year.
Yeah, I agree. My concern is that run recovers to clear out and Milroe takes off and play lights out. You're right about that. I will say it's not the teams of old, but I would say that the something that's not as key in the past years with Alabama is their tight ends are not as good as they used to be. They used to have a lot better tight ends.
Milroe's going off tackle on 3rd and medium, 3rd and long.
Yeah. He's a big guy too, man.
We're gonna have to shut that down. I guarantee you that we're gonna see a lot of that Saturday. A lot of design run plays from Alabama.
Yeah, we put this up here. My concern is that, I put that up there to say this is like, I agree with that. We're forgetting a couple things. I would love to see Dumas Johnson, even if he's in there as a 3rd down guy, even if you get him in there in a speed concept, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're forgetting, as long as he's not hurt, I don't know if it's real or not, but I've heard some comments that Smile Munden is dealing with a little bit of a tweak of an injury, but Smile's a really good linebacker, man. He plays the center well. I think he calls as good of a game as Pop does. So I think we'll be fine there. I like CJ Allen. I won't hesitate to say this either. Like, don't look away from the fact that you could see a little bit of a, you might not see a linebacker spying Milroe. You might see a Bullard or a Ty Key spying, because we do have some really good. I don't like the one thing I don't like is I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried about Everett sometimes, but I like Aguario too, man. I think he could come in and add some back end in some of those first and second downs where maybe we do want to plug the box but not be so linebacker heavy. Because Bullard's a great tackler.
Our back end is strong. Malachi Starks and Javon Bullard. Like we've got better safeties than we've had in a while.
I agree. I trust Kirby, man. I trust Schumann. You get the best defensive staff. I think out of everybody, Humphreys. Bobby said his Humphreys going to be. I think out of everybody, Humphreys is probably the most questionable with his because he broke his collarbone, right? Or
Yeah.
did he just dislocate it? Or I heard broke collarbone. But I think in order of I think they said, and this is all speculation, but you're not even hearing Dumas Johnson's name. You're hearing that Tate is the most healthy out of the three, and then Brock, and then Ladd is what they're saying. But
Brock's playing.
Brock's going to play, man. There's no way this guy's in the bill. He could have played against Tech. I
thought he was just going to be a decoy up at Tennessee, but that man was out there catching balls, scored a couple touchdowns. I mean, dang, 4 weeks, 26 days after surgery, man. 28 days after having tightrope surgery. That's pretty impressive.
I just love to have been a fly on the wall when Kirby and them were talking about strategy going into Tech and how much got put in that week. And, you don't like to say it because you don't want your team to overlook a Georgia Tech. You don't want them to be, there's just so much. But if any mental team is ready to be, mentally prepared and mentally to take on obstacles, it's Georgia, right? I'm not being biased, but you look at Kirby, man, and dude, the guy is just a mental guru. Like, he's not too high. He's never too low. And some people may think, and I can't even get on Facebook and some of these dog groups, man. They're having just meltdowns all over the place.
Oh, my God. The Bobo hate was real for the first 6 weeks of the season. Oh, my God.
So sad, man.
Like, I'm not a big Bobo fan either, because I remember Bobo from the Mike Doo-Doo days, from when he was a quarterback for Georgia, and me and Grant were on the elevator with him after he got hurt against Tennessee. And, he's a good dude, but I mean, come on. And then like those Rick years, we scored a lot of points, but we could never get over the hump, and it may not have been his fault. But
yeah,
I'm not a huge Bobo supporter, but he has, proven me wrong this year. I'm not afraid to admit that.
I'm a huge Bobo supporter off the hybrid Monken effect. I do think that was true. Yeah. I think
post Monken Bobo is the man.
I think Kirby was right. I think Bobo got in there with Monken, and the thing that was stressed to Mike Bobo was, hey man, like, it's always revolving, right? It's always a revolving door. The offense we run today could be not. I mean, yes, it's going to be the same. The offense is going to be the same, but the play scheme and how we fit them together is always going to be different. We were run heavy against Kentucky, and then we would bust them, and then we just plowed them for the last fourth quarter, right? We're notorious for doing that. I would love to see that happen against Alabama. I would love to see us get out quick, control the tempo, and then be running the ball for 2.5 quarters in the the rest of the game.
Yeah. It can't be a coincidence that the Ravens are in first place in their division in the NFL too. Like, there's definitely knows how to get Monken was great. Monken was great.
They got him a person that knows how to get it to the playmakers. Kirby's been sandbagging. I agree with that. Who you got, Fish? Georgia, Alabama. Who you got, and what's the score?
Georgia 38, Bama 21.
38-21. Dude, I want both of your predictions to happen. I'm honestly scared to pick this game. You think 38? What's the my iPad died. I don't even know what Vegas says total points. I think they're giving them 55?
No, over under, something like that.
I got Georgia.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout, because if we do get up by a couple of touchdowns, Kirby's going to decelerate a little bit. He does, and in a game we can't afford to lose. We can't afford to have a freaky fumble or a freaky tip ball off of somebody's pinky toe, or whatever happens. He's not going to let any crap like that happen. This game is going to be coached like pristine. Yeah.
Somebody said it the other day. They said, you look at Saban and you look at Kirby right now, and it's different right now because you see Saban freaking out on the sideline. The control of the game and the penalties and the things that are happening in both areas, it's just a very methodical Kirby Smart. Like he's not, like I said, even the fact of when you saw some dumb late hit calls against Tech, you saw some dumb penalties against Tennessee.
That
you
was
didn't
a
see
fluke
him,
game.
yeah,
Like
you didn't see him fly off the rocker though.
Happening.
You know,
he didn't. He didn't come unglued. He did.
Yeah,
I mean,
he gave him a look.
He sat people to rest them to get them an extra week for next week, for this week, for Bama. I know he did. He'll never admit it, but that's definitely what he did as far as Brock Bowers goes, especially, and Tate Rutledge probably.
Well, I got Georgia, and I got this weird score, this 34-21 score. I think
I'll take it.
I think it's 30. I think it's 14, and I think maybe Bama gets one late. But I would love to, in order to get these scores we're talking about, I think you're going to have to see. Well, let's just end it like this tonight. Bobby, I know you're going to be typing, but I'm going to give I'll give keys to Victor. I think, and Adam, you can chime in. I think keys for Georgia, 33-18 would work too. Yeah, it would. I think keys for Georgia is, I think Georgia has to get off quick. I think I would love to win the toss. I think that's worked very well for Georgia, is having that ball in the second half first.
We can't give up 7 on the first drive of the game.
I agree. I totally agree. And maybe that does change. I don't know if Kirby really means that whole, we'll just give them 7 and let's get it over with. You may even look at it and go, does Georgia actually, I don't know about you guys, but I love knowing Georgia has the ball to start the third quarter. Because if anything's going on, we automatically can claim some momentum at the beginning of the second half. So I think we need to get out. We need to get out. We need to go a little 4 and out a couple times, get some points somehow, whether it's a touchdown, field goal, just good quality drives. Those first few, establish some basis of what they're going to do. Let Schumann get a good look at it. Let Kirby get a good look at it. And if Alabama cannot score effectively in the first and second quarter, I think it's lights out, because if
Beck gets in rhythm. Yeah. Have you seen some of the dimes he's just been throwing over the middle? Just
crazy.
Whipping it. I mean, he throws the ball hard, dude. You can tell that he's pitch, because he's got a gun. He's got a gun. His deep ball accuracy isn't great, but he can throw some lasers.
Yeah. And then, Bobby has control both lines of scrimmage. Beck has time. We'll pick them apart. That's what I was going to say too. Bend but don't break on Milroe. I agree with that. The one thing I will say keys for Alabama is I think you got to get to Beck. It's going to be hard to do, but you got to get Beck in pressure situations.
What game did he have 0 hurries, 0 touches, 0 knockdowns? Was that? No, it couldn't have been Missouri. Was it the Tennessee game?
That was Ole Miss. Was that Ole Miss?
Was it Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, he was 16 or 17 and 17 for 18 in the first half or something like that.
Yeah. Did you see how clean his uniform was? He even mentioned it, made a joke about it to Holly Rowe in the post game. Do you see me? Do you see how clean I am? It's crazy. They didn't touch him. Not one time.
And guys, if you get, the one thing I will say is, and I will say this, they said it too. I love Delp. I like Delp. But Brock's the better blocker. And I think if you get Tate back and you can move Xavier out there to the left tackle again, our line is I don't know if Tate will be fully healthy, but I think, like you said, I think they held Tate out. He could have gone. I think you held Tate out because
he dressed. The ones that dressed were able to go.
So you get Mims,
maybe not.
Yeah, you get Mims back out at right tackle. You get Truss back out at left tackle. So you got your blind side and you got your strong side sewed up.
And then Milton's got 2 more guys just pushing people out of the way.
Middle, and if you give Milton the middle and Dejan, the outside.
Dude, if he was about 0.5 of a second faster, Kendall Milton, he would have had a couple of touchdowns, those broken runs. But he runs out of gas after about 35, 40 yards because he's a big dude. Yeah,
I agree, man. I agree.
He had a little more speed.
Well, fellas, this has been cool, Bobby. Next week, man. Next week, I'm gonna reach out to you boys, man. It'll be fun next week. We'll get
do it, man. Had a blast,
more stacked up. Hopefully, we're all happy. We're not sad. We're talking about maybe Georgia in a top 4 bowl game.
My opinions may vary depending on what happens Saturday.
Yeah, you might be like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm out. I hear that.
No. I would definitely come back on. I just might not be the most happy version of myself that I can be.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, hey, enjoy. It starts tomorrow night, man, 7:00. I think you're going to be less tuned to Liberty and more in tune to Oregon and Washington.
I'm ready for my Pac-12 madness.
Yeah, all the chaos starts. We'll know some of the chaos by the time the game starts at Saturday at 4 with Oklahoma State, Texas. But it's going to be fun. Best of luck. Hope you guys have a good atmosphere to watch the game, man. If you're tuning in tonight, go follow at Ready Ted Go. It's been fun. Maybe we'll have some more faces in this box next week, and hopefully that's where the Georgia wins. So go Dogs. Adam, thanks for joining. Bobby,
anytime,
thanks for chiming
in. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man. And Greg, if you tried to get in, man, I'm sorely sorry. Joe ain't. I don't know. Well, I think Joe had to work tonight, but
Joe Grant, Greg,
man, come on, man.
We can have a conversation.
Yeah, we can, man. Talk to me about. I want to talk about Pittman, man. I like Pittman, but I think I saw Grant screaming, "Why in the hell do we keep Pittman?" So I'd love to hear his comments about that. But
me too.
Anyways, boys, have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys soon. And go Dogs.
Go Dogs.